Select queries. All the queries created in Stage 1 were by definition select queries. Select queries select records and fields from certain tables and give you a certain result. What I'd like to do is start by creating a select query based on more than one table. From the ribbon, I'm going to click the Create tab, and in the Queries group, I'm going to choose Query Design. From here, I can immediately see my Show Table dialog box, and what I'd like to do is add 3 tables. I'm going to click on TBL Student and Add, TBL Student and Class and Add, and TBL Class and Add. So this query, I'd like to query 3 of the 6 tables in this database. So I'll now click Close. I can resize these tables so I can clearly see what's in each table, and if necessary I could move them. Now the fields I'm after, particularly from the table TBL Student, are first name, so I'm going to double click first name, and that appears as the first field in my grid. I'm then going to double click last name and double click email. And those are the 3 fields I require from the table TBL Student. Then what I'd like to grab from the table TBL Class is the class name field, so I'll double click that. Then I'd like to grab term, so I'll double click term, double click year, and double click cost. And so these are the 4 fields from the table called TBL Class. Notice that I haven't actually taken any fields out of the table TBL Student and Class. I must include this table in the top part of my query. If I do not include this table, I will get the wrong answer. Let me show you. First of all, to the very left of the ribbon, I'm going to click the View button to view my results. What I see here are 20 records, and these are the first and last names and emails of the students who are currently enrolled in these classes in this term, year and cost. If I go back to Design View, which is the View button to the far left of the ribbon, and I click on Student and Class and delete this table just by pressing the Delete key, what I see is the 2 tables I require and the fields I require, but there is no line or relationship between these tables that is showing. And so if I was to view my result by hitting the View button to the far left of the ribbon, I actually get 35 records, which is actually incorrect. If I go back to Design View, the reason I get an incorrect result is because I'm not seeing the mediating table and I'm not seeing the relationship. And what Access does is it actually takes the number of records in this table and multiplies it by the number of records in this table. So if I have a quick look at the TBL Student table, there are 7 records in there, and a quick look at the TBL Class table, there are 5 records in there, and 7 times 5 is 35, and that's why I'm getting 35 records in my result. It simply maps every student against every class, which is actually incorrect because that's not the student necessarily enrolled in that class. So that's a very dangerous trap for young players. So in the design of my query, I'm going to hit the Show Table button, and I'm going to bring back the Student and Class table so that I get the relationships or the lines. And even though I'm not using any fields out of here, when I hit my View button again, there are in fact 20 students enrolled in classes and not 35. So do be careful of that. Now I'd like to save this query, so I'm just going to hit the Save button on my Quick Access toolbar, and I'm going to save it as QRY Student and Class. And OK. And so what I see in my navigation pane in the Queries section is I now have a query called QRY Student and Class. What I'd now like to do is close this query and create another query. So I'm just going to hit the little X and close this query. To create a new query, I'm going to go to the Create tab in the ribbon, and in the Queries group, I'll hit Query Design. This time the tables I'm after are TBL Student, so I'll click TBL Student and Add. I also want TBL Result and Add, and TBL Assignment and Add. And those are the 3 tables I'm after, so I can now click Close. I'm just going to resize where necessary so the scroll bar disappears and I know that I can see all my fields clearly. Now the fields I'd like out of the student table are first name, so I'm going to double click first name and double click last name, and I'm after those two fields. Out of the table assignment, I'd like to see the assignment description, so I'm going to double click assignment description. Out of the result table, I'd like to see the score that each student got for that assignment, so I'll double click score. I'd also then like to know what percent of the total grade, so I'll double click percent of grade out of TBL assignment. So looking at my grid or my QBE, I can see I want the first name and last name of each student, the description of the assignment from the assignment table, the score out of the result table, and the percentage of grade out of the assignment table. If I then hit the view button to the very left of my ribbon, I'll be able to view the results. And I can see there are 70 records. I'd like to save this query, so I'm just going to hit the save button on my quick access toolbar, and I'll name this query QRY student assignment result. And OK. If I then close that query and just take a quick glance at my navigation pane, I can see I have two queries here, and also given the nature of this little symbol here, this tells me that these two queries by nature are actually select queries. Please create these queries because you will need them for the rest of this chapter.